Thank you so much for staying with us. The show continues here, and we still have some time to go. So before we get back to the singers in the house, we want now to bring in Willis, the word master, joining us live and direct from Kisumu City. Willis, good evening. It's great to see you looking bright and fiery in red. How are you doing?
Bright and fiery. Betty, I'm fine, and thank you for asking about how I am and how is the capital city.
Well, we are doing fantastic, Willis. Only that the weather is a bit chilly, but we have no concerns apart from that. Yes, Willis.
That is sometimes, some kind of blessing from God. When we have the rains and then we have the chilly weather, sometimes it's important for so many other things in our lives.
All right, Willis. So, of course, tonight we continue with our lesson, and we did not go on the public holiday like everybody else, but it's okay. And I want us to get straight to word on the street and listen to the shock that maybe Kenyans gave us this time round. Gingivitis. Gingivitis. Gingivitis.
Gingivitis. Gingivitis. Gingivitis.
Gingivitis, gingivitis, gingivitis.
3 times.
Gingivitis, gingivitis, gingivitis.
Gingivitis.
3 times.
Gingivitis. Gingivitis.
So that last one was my favorite. Willis, I'm telling you. So anyway, we're learning. So, we're allowed to just giggle a bit.
Yes.
But Willis, talk to us about that word. We've handled this word before, but still, as I can tell, there's still a problem out there.
Yes, Betty, you can now realize that certain words are just tricky. Even, there are people who may have not had, a chance to be with us when we did it first, or in the previous edition of Mind Your Language.
Yeah.
But Betty, this word is tricky. Gingivitis is very popular but inaccurate, wrong for that matter.
Right.
But, as I always say, some of the words are tricky. Like this word is commonly used by, medics and all that, and it's a condition in which the gums around the teeth become painful, red, or swollen. Now, you say gingivitis. Gingi, that is at the onset or the beginning. Gingivitis. Just like, yes, gingi. All
right.
Then vitis with a stress.
Okay.
Gingivitis. Just like we also say laryngitis. And Betty, we say meningitis, not meningitis, the way it's commonly said locally. And Betty, I'll request you, just because we have the FIFA World Cup and the wonderful cameraman in Kisumu, that is Dan Odhiambo, already has reminded me that please let us start with something unique, because I know Betty will love it. Because these words are now common as we have, commentators talking about the matches in Russia or the FIFA World Cup. We say stadium, not stadium, not stadium, not stadium. You say won, not won. Won the match.
Won the match.
W-O-N. Then jersey, not jersey. Jersey ni neno ambalo linatumika kwa Kiswahili, Betty, kama nitatumia Kiswahili kidogo na niwiwe radhi na watazamaji wetu. Nimejaribu tu Kiswahili kidogo, Betty. We say jersey in English, but it's jersey in Kiswahili. Then finally, we have combination. Combination, not combination. So for those who are keen on what is happening in Russia at the FIFA World Cup, we have to get it right. Stadium. One, jersey, and combination. But we can now go ahead with what you have done. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, thank you for that, Dan. That was fantastic. Those are some of the words really that Willis, you hear and you're like, it's not stadium, it's stadium.
Yes.
All right, Willis.
It happens, Betty. It happens.
It does happen, Willis. Okay, so let's move on to the next word. I'll spell this one out. P-I-O-N-E-E-R. Pioneer. Pioneer. Which is which, Willis?
Yes, you say pioneer. Pioneer. What we should avoid is pioneer. Many people find themselves saying pioneer, which is wrong. You say near. So you don't say pioneer, it is pioneer. Just like auctioneer, not auctioneer. You also say profiteer, not profiteer. So the glide is ear, not air.
All right, Willis, got it. Moving on to this other word.
Ear.
Ear. All right. I'll spell it out too.
Yes.
Ginormous. Is it ginormous? Is that correct?
Or you say
What?
Ginormous. And that is an adjective. Ginormous, Betty. You don't say ginormous. It is then the stress is normous. And this is not a common word, Betty, because if anything, it is an informal word in British English, and it is a blending of giant and enormous. And it means extremely large.
Right.
Extremely large. Ginormous.
Yes. Hey, Willis, like you mentioned, we're all learning.
Yes,
I confidently said ginormous. And here I am, but it's good to be shocked sometimes.
Betty, nobody is perfect.
Yes.
That is always my advice.
Yeah.
Nobody is perfect. We are all learning. Only that sometimes with research, Willis may find himself, handling almost every basic English word or even some of the tricky ones, but not everything in the English vocabulary, Betty. We can't know everything.
We can't know anything. Thank you for that. Moving on to this other word, vegan. Everything. Yes, Willis.
That one is, a word that refers to a person who does not eat any animal products, such as meat, milk, or eggs. And Betty, we don't say vegan the way it is spelled. You say vegan. So that letter E takes the long sound E, vegan. So and so is a vegan.
All right.
Yes.
Vegan, got it. Willis, moving on to this other complicated and long word. Okay, let me just, I was going to give it a shot, but let me just spell it out. Quintuplet. I can't, just tell us, Willis. Let me not even try.
Betty, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
You are talking about one of the 5 children born at the same time by the same mother. That word has 3 acceptable pronunciations. 1, quintuplet. Quintuplet. That is acceptable. Second, quintuplet. Quintuplet with a stress on quintuplet. That is acceptable. And the third one is quintuplet. Quintuplet. So you can say quintuplet, quintuplet, and quintuplet. So there are 3 acceptable pronunciations. Just like garage, and garage. There are certain words in English which have more than 1 acceptable pronunciations, Betty.
Right.
So this one has 3.
Okay, but going back to that word that you've just highlighted, you can say garage, like I've taken my car to the garage?
Yes. You can also say garage. Then garage, with a sound like when you are saying casual. So you say garage, and garage. Garage. So there are 3 acceptable pronunciations for that word, Betty.
All right, and I'll start using the last one, moving on from now, the garage, just to sound a bit.
I know why you are saying that. I know why you are coming up with that. You want
you
to
have
sound
to shock
unique?
people sometimes and say something that they...
No, Betty, I always say use pronunciations to communicate and to deliver the intended messages clearly, because the essence of any language on earth is communication.
All right, Willis. Okay, fine. I agree. Moving on to this other word, Willis. And I know this word as caldera. Is that correct?
What you can avoid is cal. That A takes the sound O. That is the short sound O. Just like it in alternative. You don't say alternative, you say alternative. So this one is caldera.
What?
And you can also say caldera, though caldera is commonly used in American English. But the important thing, Betty, is say call, not Cal. Cal, no. And Betty, we are talking about a very large hole in the top of a volcano, usually caused by an eruption. So you say caldera or caldera. But caldera is the British pronunciation, Betty. What you avoid is Cal. Very common, especially locally, but you should avoid it. Caldera and caldera. That is a surprise to you, I know.
That is a serious surprise, Willis, considering that I'm sure in many secondary schools here in the country, all our geography teachers are always saying caldera. So very confidently, so it's called.
You hear you have said, Betty, you have said geography. Geography. That is the way to go, Betty.
Okay.
Geography. But do you agree with me that many people, or at school, especially primary school, we could hear geography? Do you agree with that?
Yes, it's true. Even we had teachers who used to say
but it's
geography.
Geography. Just like geometry, we hear geometry. This word also, Betty, many people say caldera, but it's caldera or caldera.
What? That's a serious surprise, Willis. Okay, now we know. Now we know. Yes. Caldera or caldera.
Very important.
Now Betty. We know. All right, Willis. Moving on to this other word. Lambaste. Lambast. Which is which, Willis?
That lambast, we should avoid it. Lambaste, we should avoid it.
Okay.
Betty, that word is lambast, and that is to attack or criticize somebody or something very severely. And it's commonly used, in fact, in what we call now journalism, in, journalistic reports. You'll hear somebody talking about so-and-so lambasted. Lambasted is not there in English, Betty. Okay. Let's just get it right.
All right.
It's lambased. Lambased. Lambasted, so-and-so. But not lambasted, which is very common. Just like that word, vehemently. Vehemently, it's not there in English, Betty.
Really?
You say vehemently. He vehemently refused to talk to the journalists. Not he vehemently refused to talk to the journalists. No. He vehemently refused to talk to the journalists. That is the way to go, Betty.
Hey, Willis, tonight you're on fire, just like your red attire. So we've been...
Cool it, Betty. Cool it as usual. Cool it as much as you can. But so long as it's that good fire for learning.
It's some good fire, Willis. That's a serious surprise.
Yes. Vehemently, not vehemently.
Yeah. So what about the H? Do you say vehemently?
You elide or you jump over that. Just like, Betty, do we say vehicle? Do you say vehicle? You say vehicle.
Vehicle.
You get that?
All right.
You also say vehemently.
Okay.
So just like even the word we call locally rehabilitate, it's not there. That puff, the breath puff for ha, it's not there in English. That is in standard English. You say rehabilitate. Rehabilitation, not rehabilitation. That one is not there, but rehab, that is acceptable, Betty.
All right, rehabilitation. All right, Willis, we want now to move on to our feedback question. This one comes from Dr. JB of Kampala, Uganda. And he's asking about this word, F-A-C-E-T-I-O-U-S. How do you say that word?
Oh, Betty, we have the word facet, but you don't say facetious. Facetious, when you have that adjective, you now say facetious. Facetious. Very tricky, especially for that sound, she and shas. Facetious. The first one is C, the last one is sha. C, shas. Facetious. That is trying to appear amusing or intelligent at a time when it is appropriate to be serious. Now, that adjective, you say facetious. So for Dr. JB of Kampala, Uganda, and our good fans and our dear viewers, you say facetious. And Betty, we have Stella Chemasas of Eldoret. Stella Chemasas, you say famine, not famine. And you also say drought, not drought. Eddie Wanjala of Busia, you say counterfeit goods. When we look at that word, we find ourselves saying counterfeit. That fate is not there. You say fit, counterfeit goods. Mercy Anyango of Migori, you say estranged, not estranged. And we have Abdallah Mambo of Kongowea, Mombasa. It's gesture, not gesture. That letter G takes sound J, like in generator or generation, generator, generation, gender. You also say gesture. A kind gesture, not gesture. You also say gestation. Abdallah Mambo of Kongowea, Mombasa. Lilian Juma of Bondo. Lilian Juma of Bondo town in Siaya County. You say perplexed, perplexed. Zakina Mahmoud of Mandera. You say camel. Ngamia in English, you say camel. Camel. Don't say camel. No, camel. And you also say chapel, not chapel. Professor Ondicho, thank you for loving the English pronunciation segment that much. Thank you very much and keep it up. Mind your language and Friday briefing, you say it's always on fire. Keep it up, our dear brother. Jane Kubai of Tala, Sheena, if you like, Sheena Gadomi, and Titus Kinoti, you say reminisce, reminisce. That name, Sheena, is tricky for me, but I think it's Sheena or Sheena Gadomi. Then we have Jane Kubai of Tala and Titus Kinoti, you say reminisce. Maro Peter, you say paranoia, paranoia. There's that stress on noia. Ken Sikini, Madison, Jasmine, and Trisha of Austin, Texas in USA. That is America. Ken Sikini, Madison, Jasmine, and Trisha of Austin, Texas in America. We say flabbergasted. Flabbergasted. If you like, you can also say flabbergasted. And then you say perplexed, or you also asked about perplexed, which came from Bondo. If I'm not wrong, Lilian Juma also asked about perplexed. Then Lilian Akelo of Nakuru, you say lucky. Then fraud. Don't say fraud. Fraud, no. Fraud. Then warthog. Many people say warthog. Warthog, just avoid that in English. You say warthog. Then Sam Njoroge of Nyeri, you say consult. Consult, insult, result. Then our surprise word for tonight, Betty, for us now to save time, because I know many people would find themselves saying granite, granite. And that is what we hear locally. You don't say granite. When you talk about a type of hard gray stone that is often used in building, you don't say granite. You say granite. And I've done the phonetic transcription down here to show you that it is knit, not night. Granite. Avoid granite. That is the surprise word for tonight. But alongside granite, you should also avoid saying famine, say famine, the way Stella Chemasas brought for us that word. But also, you say feminine, not feminine. Feminine, no. Feminine. You also say masculine, masculine, not masculine. So some of these pronunciations, they may be tricky, but once you get them right, you'd be in a position to communicate very clearly, and communicating very clearly is very important for you. Just like when we have the two words which are confusing. The upper word is pronounced as wander, to wander, to move from one place to another, or to move like when you are in the desert. You are not wandering, you are wandering. Now, letter A in this word, letter A takes the short sound O, wo, wander. But the lower word is wander, wander. It has letter O taking the mid-central sound So you say wander. So don't mistake these words to be homophones. By the way, homophones are words which are spelled differently with different meanings, but they are pronounced the same way. Just like male, M-A-I-L, and M-A-L-E, male. Such words are called homophones. But these ones, they are not. They are pronounced differently. One is wander, W-A-N-D-E-R. The other one is wander. That is W-O-N-D-E-R. Betty from Kisumu, it's back to you in case of anything.
All right, Willis, I mean, you've had quite a number of surprises tonight, including caldera, and I think it's good. We've learned enough for tonight, Willis. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to the next lesson next Friday. Willis, it was fantastic having you here on Friday
Always my pleasure, Betty.
All right. Remember that you can always follow him on Twitter. His handle is at Willis1, and you can ask him any other question that you want with regard only to pronunciation. That is Willis, the word master, live and direct from Kisumu City. All right.